With a global population of 740 million, the house sparrow has one of the largest populations in the world. The house sparrow, however, is not native to most parts of the world. It is a species native to Europe, the Mediterranean basin, and a large part of Asia. It has since been introduced to Australia, Africa, and the Americas. But how did the bird get here, to the Americas in the first place? In 1851, the bird was introduced into Brooklyn, New York. 2 more introductions of the house sparrow helped the bird's rapid spread in the 1870s. It was introduced to San Francisco and Salt Lake City. The person or people responsible for the initial introduction is an organization called the Brooklyn Institute in New York City. The leader of this group was Nicholas Pike. But the question remains, why were they put here in the first place? The most simple answer is that they were put here on purpose. They were brought from Europe to try and control the caterpillar populations, protecting the city's basswood trees from linden moths. Another reason as to why they were brought here was to have a species in America that would make European immigrants feel like they were at home. But what has been the house sparrow's impact on the environment? Well, some people see the house sparrow as a pest. By the 1880s, many people in the United States were convinced that the sparrow was a serious danger to agriculture and native species of birds. Unfortunately, they aren't far off on that assessment. House sparrows are known to aggressively defend their nesting holes. A scientist in the year 1889 reported house sparrows attacking over 70 different species of bird. House sparrows are also known for kicking out other birds from their nest holes, including western and eastern bluebirds, purple martins, and tree swallows. To make matters worse, they also steal food from birds and at times pierce flowers to drain them of their precious nectar. The important thing to note, however, is that humans are at fault for these things taking place, not the house sparrow. The house sparrow is acting like a house sparrow would, and humans are responsible for introducing the creature to these new habitats, without consideration of other species. An ideological framework that is applicable to the situation is called Multispecies Justice. This differs from other frameworks because it doesn't just focus on the injustices experienced by humans, but also by other species as well. Multispecies Justice focuses on shifting the focus and subject of justice from the individual human to a wider range of living and non-living entities. In this case, the house sparrow and the species it impacts would have all needed to be considered when making the decision to introduce the bird to the Americas and other continents. Multispecies Justice encourages us as humans to be held accountable and responsible for others, because we are all interconnected and bound together in everyday practices. This means that we as humans must practice something called Entangled Empathy, meaning that we can truly see things like homelessness, marginalization, threatened animals, and plants, and not turn our eyes away. The idea is to build a common world together. The fact of the matter is, we humans cannot survive without the other species that live around us. They independently take care of us, just as we should be taking care of them. This means that we need to see and listen more deeply. We need deep listening to allow us to hear our suffocating oceans and the millions of creatures suffering within. Government policies should reflect our listening by creating protections, no matter what the cost, to help save our planet and the countless species that reside here. We need a more than human attitude heading into the future if we are going to survive as a collective planet. Now bringing this concept back to the house sparrow. If in 1851 humanity had taken a multi-species framework to heart, the situation could have been different. Studies would have been conducted on the house sparrow's behavior and seen that the bird did not get along with other hole-nesting species. This could have shown those wanting to introduce the bird that it would compete with native species in the area and would have been a red flag at its introduction. Many people may think, it's okay, we have learned our lesson. But the fact of the matter is, we aren't done introducing non-native species to the Americas and other parts of the world. Since the house sparrow, over 100 non-native species of bird have been introduced to the United States alone. Some examples include the European starling, as well as the rock pigeon. More recently escaped pets in Southern California have started breeding and now have self-sustaining populations of wild birds like the pin-tailed whydah. It is important to note that not all native species have a negative impact on the environment. There are agencies in the United States whose solution is to kill invasive species to help native populations regenerate. A multi-species justice framework would have us look at the consequences of these decisions not only on humans, but on the non-human species that surround us. The imbalance found within our ecosystem can largely be attributed to human decisions. To create a better future for our planet, we must find creative ways to either fix the problems as created or to prevent new problems from happening. Lastly, the house sparrow is a living thing. It is something that we humans spread globally. Many solutions aim at culling the population to help native birds thrive. But if we listen deeply, like Multispecies Justice has us do, we can hear bird populations around the globe plummeting. At its peak, the house sparrow reached a staggering 150 million birds in the United States alone. Today, only 82 million remain. The solution to the problem does not lie in the culling of one invasive species. The answer lies in the consequences that we humans create through our actions. The solution lies in caring about all the bird species and other species around us that create the necessary balance for us to thrive. The solution lies in caring. Thank you for joining me on this educational journey. I hope to see you all next time on Bright-Eyed Birding.